On the show this week, we get our first taste of the distinctly French Citroen C5 Aircross. We get insights from auto industry leaders on winning the customer's trust in Brobot Dialogues, brought to you by Reliance General Insurance, and we also talk safety in a series brought to you by Michelin.
France has always been the fashion capital of the world, and it is the pinnacle of fashion and luxury. We've had French automotive brands in India before, like Renault, but they've never really given us a quintessentially French car. Well, Citroen are all set to drive into India with the C5 Aircross, and there's no denying what this car's nationality and heritage is. It's French, very French, and chic and quirky and stylish. From the chevron logo on the nose that spans out to the DRL and the split headlamp cluster to the quirky trapezoid air intakes in the lower bumper and the side of the doors. Or the air bump protective panels on the lower half of the doors and the distinctive rear LED lights with the 4 rectangles, the C5 Aircross is full of funky elements in its styling. Unlike a Hermès bag or a Chanel dress that might pass under the radar, the C5 will shout out your style quotient. On the inside, the French chic continues with lots of little touches here and there. The valise-like straps sewn onto the dash, lots of flowing and contoured lines and levels, and multiple materials like plastic and leather and piano black and chrome and even fabric that are all very stylishly put together. However, all the materials are not quite like the German or even the Korean quality we have seen of late, and lower down the cabin, you can see harder plastic. There's some quirky bits like the instrumentation cluster that's digital, but it has some funny bits to it. There's a large readout for the speedometer, and then again there's a second version of it which is like an old radio tuning dial that shows you the speed. You do have the tachometer, but it's digital, and I've never been a fan of those. This one feels a bit sticky and doesn't really feel like it's matching up to what's happening on the road. What I am a fan of though are these seats. They are extremely comfortable. They do have high density foam, and you can really feel that, it's not too soft, not too firm, just right. But let's take a look at what more is on offer. Well, this rear seat is quite versatile. Each one of these 3 seats individually slides quite far forward and backward so that you can really adapt luggage space versus passenger space. Like I said, you do also have a recline function on each one of these seats, so the passengers at the back can get really comfortable. However, with this kind of seat contouring, it's better for 5 than for 4, because if you're just one person or maybe 2 at the back, you would miss the width of a larger seat. Now, because of this third seat, you do also miss out on an armrest. But on the whole, you have loads of legroom, ample headroom. The seat cushioning is nice. The seat base and under thigh support a little shorter than the large front seats, but it's an open window. It feels nice and airy, and the panoramic sunroof version or variant will only make it feel more spacious in this back seat. So the back seat's probably the best place to start off the test drive, because Citroen have been talking about the flying carpet-like ride quality. So let's give that a go. As you can see, I'm going through a lot of the rough stuff, and inside I'm extremely comfortable. I mean, low speed ride is fantastic. It just decimates the road, and the passenger feels nothing. It's very soft and well-rounded and extremely comfortable in the cabin. And as you pick up the pace also, it is quite good. The only thing that catches it out is sharp ruts and edges. Okay, so finally time to get behind the wheel and get going. C5 Aircross will offer only one engine option, a 2-litre 4-cylinder diesel that has 177 HP and quite a respectable 400 Nm of torque that's mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now, Citroen's market speak has been really pushing the fact that comfort is in their DNA and this car is all about comfort. So what comes as a surprise really is this engine and gearbox combination. It is really nice. Performance is very good. In fact, the engine is creamy smooth, it's refined, and it has power wherever you want it in the range, whether you're ambling around at city speeds or whether you're out like this on a highway and you put your foot down and you need an overtake. Wherever you want it, it's got the go. The steering is on the lighter side, and in the city that's really a boon, and even the turning circle is great. So parking this car or turning it around or nipping in and out of gaps in the city is going to be really easy. And it does weigh up quite well, but it's not really sharp or responsive. However, it does give you a good amount of confidence, whether you're going around the corners or whether you're going at higher speeds out on the highway. The Citroen is slated to launch this April at an expected price of around 30 lakhs. So its direct competitors would be the likes of the Hyundai Tucson, the Tiguan Allspace and the Jeep Compass. But it would also have to go up against the likes of the other larger body-on-frame SUVs like the Toyota Fortuner and the Ford Endeavour that are in the same price range. So the C5 Aircross will be more expensive than its closest rivals, but the thing to remember is it's larger than them too. Now, it may not have the road presence of the other larger, big, butch SUVs in that price bracket, but then hey, what a looker this is. It's way more of a style statement than anything else around. And it's not only that, dig deeper than the surface and you'll find that it has good performance, it has a good amount of space, it's got a super comfy ride, and it is well equipped enough. So if you want all of that and you want to stand out from the crowd, well, the Citroen C5 Aircross will do it for you.
Up next, we get insights from auto industry leaders on winning the customer's trust in Brobot Dialogues, brought to you by Reliance General Insurance. And we also talk safety in a series brought to you by Michelin.
Hello and welcome to Brobot Dialogues, a series of panel discussions where we deep dive into different aspects of the auto industry. The topic for today's discussion is winning the trust of the customer. Now, that's easier said than done because it takes years, if not decades, of hard work for a brand to win customers over. And to talk about this, we have a very eminent panel, which I'd like to introduce. From the manufacturer side, we have Rajesh Goel, the Senior Vice President and Director for Marketing and Sales for Honda Cars India. We have Zachary Hollis, the Brand Director for Skoda India, again, Service Marketing and Sales. From the dealer side, we have Sanjay Thakkar, the Chairman of the Landmark Group. And talking to us about how insurance can play a role with customers is Ramesh Babu, the Head of OEM and Automotive Alliances at Reliance General Insurance. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. And I'd like to start off straight with Zachary Hollis.
I think winning trust is the most important thing that a brand has to have from its customers. You know, people are buying an expensive a car, as we know, is probably the second biggest thing that a customer will buy. Often it's their most important thing that they bought in their life, and there has to be a relationship of trust between the brand that goes down to the dealer and then ultimately to the manufacturer. So we make trust here by building the right relationship with customers, by satisfying the customers, with engaging with the customers, and by creating an ownership experience which is pleasant and happy. And the most important reason we're doing that at the end of the day is to get loyalty and to get referrals and to build the brand.
If you allow me to take a digestion, I'm wearing a new shirt for your panel today, and I'm very fidgety because I'm not very happy with the fit. And the point that I'm trying to make is, for a simple thing like a shirt, I always go to a particular brand to pick up a size because I know for that brand, that size, that fit, I will never have a problem. And that's my trust for that brand. I'm not naming the brand, right? So that is what we need to. Car, of course, like Zach said, is still the second biggest purchase for a customer in his lifetime, and therefore we need to deliver to the promise. It is about the product and it is about the experience that you deliver, which is what comes along with it. But with the city, we have had to keep working with every successive generation with the product and with the customer experience at each touch point, going back to them with multiple initiatives for them to be able to appreciate the brand, to be able to trust the brand, and to be able to have the trust keep growing, so that they are able to they become our advocates as we go forward.
Right, and I think this neatly dovetails into Sanjay. Obviously, you've got a lot of Honda dealerships, you've got other dealerships as well. You must be getting a sense of, let's say, how important winning the customer is, even from a brand perspective. I mean, I'm sure you can get a different kind of perspective on this.
Again, I'll take on from where Goel San left. So as a dealer, to retain a customer, there is a customer life cycle that we need to maintain. So it's not only the sale of cars, but it is also the insurance, as we have Ramesh over here. We have the after sales, we have the extended warranties, and a lot of other products, used cars, upgrades. So the brand loyalty is something that I see in India, an evolving kind of a thing. The point I'd like to make over here is that the Indian consumer is willing to experiment with brands. That's what I have seen on ground.
Right. I'll come back to this point on, customers are willing to experiment, but I just wanted to get, final panelist Ramesh Babu in, because again, insurance companies play a critical role in winning customers' trust.
For the matter of fact, we have the lowest complaint ratio in the industry for last 36 quarters. A regulator tracks these scores on a regular basis, quarterly basis. We are the lowest for the 36 months, also shows the customers' trust and even the OEM's trust in us. And especially as you mentioned today, floods, calamities, heavy rains have become very, very common in India. And we have a disaster management team which is completely trained, the specific dedicated resources, and they have their own equipment to reach out these places quickly in time. Also, what do we do from claim intimation to claim assessment to document submission to even settling the claim is much faster compared to the normal scenario.
I just want to move on from this and, talking about keeping the customer engaged. Customers today are very demanding. They want a lot more. What areas do you think you see going forward where, the trust factor is very critical and dependent on?
I'll give you an example. If you get your car serviced and it comes out, it's clean, the job is done as you'd expect, the price is reasonable in line with what you expect, and it's done timely, then you're satisfied. But you're not delighted. So what we've got to work on here, and what we're working on, is method. How do you delight that customer? And it might be that, for example, the customer has a few scratches on one panel and you polish those out for him. Or it could be that you've left his alloy wheels absolutely sparkling. And I think, so what we've got working on with the whole team and with the dealers is, how do you create customer delight? Because you need him to go home and you need him to talk about that experience. The one thing I find is that our customers are my biggest internal auditors. That's what I basically call them. Because I get a lot of feedback from customers. As you know, Homos, I engage with customers regularly through social media. On Twitter and on Facebook groups. And I like doing that because I get that. Firstly, I think Indian customers like to feel that they've escalated and they're talking to someone who take their issue on. And secondly, they are my internal auditors. I'll give you one example. Recently, we launched an approved used car program. And the feedback I got from customers was the website could do with improving. It wasn't up to the kind of standard they expect. So we took it down, we worked on it, and we relaunched it. And I think then this is what I get a lot. And I can also deal with individual dealers that way because I get feedback. And I think the feedback is important.
I agree with your point that it does require a personal touch, because ultimately it's coming back to the point, it's the second biggest purchase in the lifetime of a customer. And the relationship doesn't end with the sale of a car. It starts from there. And that's when you start kind of building the relationship for many more purchases, for referrals, for repurchases, etc. And in order for that relationship to be nice, positive, and happy, a personal touch is always required.
So there is a physical touch and there is a technological requirement. So the word which has been coined by several other industries is the word phygital. So a kind of a physical touch aided by digitization, by technology. Now this is something which is the need of the hour. My personal and our organization's personal belief is that one will have to significantly invest in technology, and that's the reason why we have kind of come up with, which will be launched soon, one landmark app which will take care of customers' every need. The newer generation, for one, my son, my daughter, they are all on text. They don't maybe use voice calls at all. So this is something we will, chatbots is what we have kind of invested in. As we speak today, we got on board a very senior CTO for the group. So the way ahead is basically a phygital approach.
Thanks to Rajesh San and Sanjay sir, where they mentioned about physical and the human touch. Basically, if you look at our the Brobot or Muscat, so that clearly says no tech plus heart. So coming to technology, Reliance is actually known for its technology in all aspects, whether it is an agent, a broker, a customer directly coming to us, all the OEMs. The customer interface is in the sense very simple and easy for them to get in touch with us. And we have certain apps like Selfie is an app, and we have an app called Sampurna in the sense garage portal, and we have video streaming. So we have something called video streaming, which brings in a lot of transparency, also empowerment to our channel partners. So basically, whenever there is a claim, the customer wants a very fair and fast response to him, and even the claim settlement process. So this video streaming we brought into this country with the help of Mercedes-Benz, and where they are expecting, their customers do not want to wait on a Saturday evening, late evening, for a surveyor to come. So this is clearly the OEMs also helped us to step up our service levels. The video streaming today takes care of assessment of the claim, where each of these players like Skoda, we are at 79% penetration, with Honda almost 76% penetration, and with Mercedes-Benz 86% penetration.
I think the one beautiful part about technology is it cuts out human error. It cuts out human, any biases. There's a lot of transparency in it. Do you think the way forward is to use technology more and more to kind of win that trust?
I think you're right. I mean, technology does play a role. And the good thing is now that some of the technologies that are being rolled out actually making it can really help us in managing that customer experience and developing trust. And I think in a way, the automotive industry is probably behind the rest of the world in terms of that kind of technology. So technology can certainly help in making sure the databases and CRM managements and things like that are concerned. When it comes to Skoda and what we are doing, I mean, of course, we are bringing connectivity to cars like all manufacturers are. And we also have the My Skoda app at the moment, which means you can book a service appointment directly with the app. Because many people, particularly younger customers, they're not into calling people up anymore. They want to do things through text. They want to do things by app. And we have to allow them to actually do that in the future. So connectivity in cars is one way where we will improve the customer experience, and also being connected directly to us and connected directly to the dealer can help too.
Thanks, gentlemen, for a very enriching discussion, and I wish all of you all the best. 2021 hopefully is going to be a good year. Well, it has to be. Thanks once again, and all the best. Thank you.
Coming up after the break, we talk safety in a series brought to you by Michelin.
your safety our priority. Committed to safer mobility for a better way forward. Brought to you by Michelin Tyres.
In our last episode, we discussed some basic safety techniques in our cars like ABS and EBD. But of late, we have seen more radar-based safety come into our cars to help us brake in emergencies, keep to our lanes, and even park safely. Let's take a look at a few of these and how they work. The one that most cars have these days is auto cruise control. We all know how cruise control works, where you can set a certain speed for your car to travel at without the need for you to press the accelerator. Auto cruise control uses sensors and cameras to go one step further. Not only would it help you to lock your car onto the desired speed you wish to travel at, but it will also vary it as needed to the car in front. So while regular cruise control requires you to take over and brake if the car in front brakes, auto cruise control will do this for you on its own, continuing to maintain a preset distance from the car in front. Another thing that the cameras and sensors can do is help you to keep within your lanes. They detect the guidelines of a lane, and if a driver is sleepy or not paying attention and veering out of the lane, the car will alert the driver through a set of warnings, which is normally a small tug on the steering with a set of warning sounds. Another additional feature is blind spot detector. Often when we change lanes, we miss things in a certain blind spot behind the car. Once you indicate, the sensors and the cameras detect there could be a possible collision and can either relay the images to the screen in the car to show you the blind spot, or a sound and a flashing light on the side view mirror indicate that there is something too close behind you to watch out. Last but not the least, a feature that saved a lot of nicks, scratches and fenders: the self-parking mode. A series of cameras and sensors detect an empty parking space and then communicate with the car to ensure it directs itself correctly into the space. All the driver has to do is follow the instructions on the instrument panel to modulate the accelerator and brake and change the gear between reverse and forward as needed. Well, soon enough that will also happen on its own when cars become fully autonomous in the future.